was looking on my timeline and I see all
トライブリゲード、
the
バーチャルワールド。
they looking like kittens out there joint, man. I just want y'all to see what a real dog's supposed to look like, you know what I'm saying? He don't got too much play in him, you just give him the word and it's like
Fluffles.
Fluffles is probably one of the most underrated decks at the moment in Master Duel. I haven't seen hardly anyone talk about it, and everybody just kind of sleeps on this deck, and I can kind of see why, but I definitely don't think that should completely disregard the amount of potential this deck truly has. As being kind of this rogue deck that's under the radar, not a lot of people expect it, you catch a lot of people by surprise and usually just OTK them because this is a deck that has very high OTK potential, probably one of the best OTK decks in the game at the moment. And it's also a very fun deck, and I don't think it's too expensive for what it is. And if you're a new player getting into the game, I actually think that you would probably enjoy this deck quite a bit. However, I could also see people saying don't play Fluffles because you should probably learn the game with a different deck, because with Fluffles you also having to learn combos and everything else, so maybe you want to go with something simpler. But even with that being said, there is a little bit of a learning curve with Fluffles. It's a lot simpler than something like Tri-Brigade, Bird Up, or Tri-Brigade Zodiac and all that. Doesn't mean it's bad, of course, just means it's a little bit easier to understand, I think, at least to me. But real quick before we get into the rest of the video, guys, if you enjoy this type of content, if you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh, please make sure you stick around to the channel and subscribe. We've been going crazy recently, and I can't thank you guys for all the support that you all been giving me. With me coming to Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm surprised the videos are even doing as well as they are due to the fact that it is a new game on my channel, and yeah, it seems like pretty positive reception so far. I'm gonna keep doing it if you guys allow me to, so hey, why don't you stick around, subscribe, promise you're gonna have a good time. And if you ever feel like, oh man, I don't like this channel anymore, you can always click unsubscribe. It takes like less than 2 seconds to subscribe and unsubscribe. Here is the deck list. Now I want to say that I'm going to be taking this a little bit differently than how some of my other videos were. In my other videos, I kind of gave you a very short summary, but with this video, I kind of want to show you just like the very basic concept of it because I have played with this deck quite a bit so far. And yes, there are cards that you can replace in this deck. Not all the URs are required. Like for example, Harpy Feather Duster, I put this in the deck myself because I wanted to counter Eldritch. Stuff like Forbidden Droplet could easily be changed out for things like Chalice or Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone if you want some more back row hate. And if you ever want to see different variations of the deck somewhere else, then I actually highly recommend that you go check out Master Duel Meta and stuff like that. You can literally filter it on their website and see what everybody's playing, so you can see what's required and what's not. So of course, our main core is going to be our Fluffle monsters, our Edge Imp monsters, and what we're trying to do for the most part is we're either going to OTK the opponent or we're going to overwhelm them. We have two options and that's it. And both paths take very similar routes to get there. So as it goes, the main premise of this deck is of course get out our big monsters from the extra deck. And we have many ways to do that. Stuff like Fluffle Dog. On normal summon or special summon, this allows you to search your deck for one Edge Imp Saber or one Fluffle monster. Most of the time, if you're summoning Fluffle Dog though, you're probably gonna be searching for Bear, which Bear is really good. Or I could also see people say going for Penguin is good as well. But I think Bear is just usually the go-to majority of the time. If you get Bear in your hand, you're able to send this card to the graveyard to set a toy vendor from your deck onto the field. And you're rarely ever going to summon this, by the way. You're always going to be popping this effect majority of the time. If you set toy vendor on the field, it's a continuous spell and you can instantly activate it. And if you activate the card, you can discard one card in your hand and draw one. And if you wind up drawing a Fluffle monster, you can special summon it onto the field. However, this has even more uses beyond that. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Edge Imp Saber or one Fluffle monster from your deck to the hand. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of ways to get this back into the graveyard. For example, you could use stuff like Foolish Burial Goods. This allows you to send one spell or trap card from your graveyard to your deck, which you're always going to be sending Toy Vendor. And Eldritch is in the deck for this exact reason as well. We could discard our Toy Vendor to the graveyard to activate its effect and also activate Eldritch's effect to of course send something else to the graveyard that's on the field. And if we ever do need Eldritch, we could also pop his effect to get him back out by doing the exact same thing by using Toy Vendors. I know that's may sound a little bit confusing with me saying it, but you'll see. Once you grasp the concept of it, it's super easy. Another thing that's really good about this deck is that we have this thing called Edge Imp Scythe, which is one of our biggest cards in this entire deck. It makes or break it literally. This card allows you to fusion summon one of your Fright Fur monsters on your opponent's turn. This is majority of the time what you're going to be doing. If you are going first and you can't go second, you want to absolutely make sure this is in your hand because this will save your life. Another thing you also may be questioning is how exactly do we get the X seeds out in this deck? So the main one that you're probably going to be getting out most of the time, Bahamut Shark, you're able to special summon Totally Awesome onto the field. And if you special summon Totally Awesome, this man just will negate practically everything. Because every single time an opponent activates a spell or trap card or a monster effect, we can send one Aqua monster from your hand or face up on the field, which I think even includes Totally Awesome himself. And then even if that wasn't enough for you, we now get to take it and it's our own. We can set it onto our field. As for the other Xyzs, of course, we have Abyss Dweller, which helps out for any opponent that actually wants to use stuff in their graveyard. Very good card if you're facing something like Tri-Brigades or anything else that uses their graveyard to refund their resources. You absolutely want to make sure you're using Abyss Dweller in that game. And then last but not least, of course, we can't just completely skip over them. One of the hardest gangster names in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! The true king of all calamities. But if we have 2 level 9 monsters on the field, we can Exceed Summon him. And if we Exceed Summon him, we can detach one card from him, and then he can declare one attribute this turn. And guess what? All face-up monsters on the field become that attribute. And also, any monster your opponent controls with that attribute cannot activate their effects or attack. This has a lot of synergy with the other Xyzs we have. As for the other stuff, I want to say it's pretty self-explanatory. Talker's in here because he's just completely broken. Apollo USA, insanely good card. Also, another monster that we haven't talked about too much that is very, very important in this deck as well is also Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is pretty much like a combo extender. So yeah, that's the deck list. Let's actually go into some classic mid gameplay from your boy OP. Now, real quick, I'm actually going to show you how to kind of start with this deck to give you an idea of where to go. This is something different than what I usually do, but I feel like it would help out a lot of people getting into it. So this deck usually always wants to go second. If you go first, it's not the end of the world, but you always want to go second majority of the time. If you do wind up going first, you better hope to God you get an Edge Imp Scythe in your hand turn 1. As you see here, our opponent has set 3 monsters, and since we have Edge Imp Scythe in our hand, we could actually activate this to fusion summon a monster from our extra deck onto the field, which, you know what, we're going to do it. And we're going to special summon our Kraken. So since we already have Kraken on the field, there's a lot of stuff that we can do with it. So for example, we could activate Kraken's effect to destroy a monster on the opponent's side of the field. So why not do it? So we're going to activate our Burial Goods, and we're actually going to wind up sending our Toy Vendor to the graveyard. I talked about this before, but this is one of the best combos that you can do. You activate Toy Vendor because you send it to the graveyard with Burial Goods. This will allow you to add 1 monster to your hand. And since we do have Penguin already in our hand, as you see here, he is here.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
We can add the dog. We can then summon Penguin, activate Penguin's effect to then summon Fluffle Dog. We can then activate Fluffle Dog's effect to search for any card that we want to. And for this specifically, we're searching for a bear. We activate Bear's effect. It gets sent to the graveyard, and we are able to set a Toy Vendor. A tip to actually do here is that a lot of times people will be playing Infinite Impermanence. If they are playing Infinite Impermanence or you feel like they are, do not set this in the middle of the row. Because if you do, then your effect will get negated. If you can, possibly set it to the right or to the left, just somewhere where it's not in the same column as their back row. As you see, I didn't do that this round, but absolutely make sure you do that so it doesn't get negated. So you can flip up Toy Vendor and Toy Vendor activates. We can then activate Toy Vendor and send Eldritch into the grave. As you see here, we drew an Imp Chain, but Imp Chain has an effect as well where once it's sent to the graveyard, we can activate it to add any Frightful card from our deck to our hand, which, surprise, surprise, is mostly spell cards. So because of that, I'm just going to add a Frightful Fusion into my hand. And then since we already popped Toy Vendor this turn, it's like, oh snap, it's over. Technically, it's not. There's 2 things that we can do here, and both actually result in something good happening for us. We could use Fluffle Wings, and Fluffle Wings, what it allows us to do is that we need to banish 2 monsters. We need to banish itself, and we also need to banish another Fluffle in the graveyard. If we banish both, we are able to draw 1 card, and then we can send our Toy Vendor to draw another card. Or you could also summon Eldritch if you feel like you didn't need the draw power. However, there's a few ways where we can bring out Eldritch. So we're going to activate Fluffle Wings to banish both monsters, which is always the teddy bear if possible. If Fluffle Bear is in the graveyard, you will want to be banishing him second, and then we're able to draw a card. And we can draw another, and it sends our Toy Vendor. Look at that. We already activated Toy Vendor once this turn, but we can do it again. I'm going to grab our sheep here, because sure. So once we have this, we can actually summon Toy Vendor and do the exact same thing again. We can pop Toy Vendor to send our Repair to the graveyard, and we draw a card. As you see there, we got Edge Imp Scythe, and unfortunately got discarded. But as I mentioned before, it's not over, because guess what? We can pop Eldritch and send Toy Vendor. And this is why you play Eldritch in the deck, and then you're allowed to special summon Eldritch at the same time. And then we pop Toy Vendor again. So at this point, it would look pretty good for us, but there is still more that we could do. So for an example, we could actually summon Cross Sheep here to bring back one of our Fluffles, which is what we're going to be doing. Now, since those guys are in the graveyard, there's a few things we can do. We could actually summon Sabretooth to bring back our boy onto the field, which, you know what? Why not do that? So we're going to polymerization here. We could bring out Frightful Tiger if we wanted to, but we're going to bring out Fright for Sabretooth at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to fuse our Kraken and our Saber Imp into the graveyard. Once we summon Sabretooth, there's a few things that happens. For one, Sabretooth's effect will activate, and so will Cross Sheep. We can pop Cross Sheep first and then chain Sabretooth to it to target Kraken that's in the graveyard and bring Kraken back out onto the field. So we're just going to grab, let's say, you know what? Let's grab Penguin. So we're going to Fright for Fusion now. And Fright for Fusion will allow us to summon any monster that we want to, which for this, we could go with the whale. Why go with the whale whenever you can go with the tiger? And it would probably be better for us to go with the tiger anyway, just for the fact that there's 2 set cards and Cruel Whale can only destroy 1 at a time. And look at that, we have Fright for Tiger on the field. Once we have him on the field, we can pop his effect to, of course, destroy the cards in the back row. As you see, pop, pop. And then guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, that's game. There's probably a few misplays there, but you guys get the point, hopefully now. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention about all the Fluffle cards, which is pretty important, is that each Fluffle card actually has their own thing that they do depending on if they are used as fusion material. Apart from Dog doesn't do anything. But Dolphin, for an example, whenever it gets used as fusion material, we can shuffle into the deck one of the fusion spells we have either in the graveyard or that's banished back into the deck, which is really, really nice. I kind of don't know what I want to roll right here, but this guy has a lot of pressure already on the board, which is pretty crazy. So we could use Harpy's Feather Duster, which I'm just thinking about doing it because screw it. And there's nothing in the grave that I can just like negate. It looks like none of them can activate anything on this turn, so I'm gonna Harpy's Feather Duster here and see what that card is behind there. It is something that's activatable, but I think that's the activatable for Dragon Spirit of White, because I really don't want that to be like a impermanence and I get screwed over. As you saw, it was a True Light, and unfortunately, he is going to, so he's going to summon a Blue Eyes. I'm almost positive everything's going to blow up right here, because this is getting removed from the field, right? Like, what? Okay, if he has like Ash Blossom or something, I have Call by the Grave, so we're good. We're going to add Polly, and we're also going to be adding, I think, Imp Chain. So we're going to summon Fluffle Dog here, and then we are going to grab a bear, because as I mentioned before, we want to make sure that we get our Toy Vendor out on the field. There we go, it's out on the field now. We can activate it. We can actually activate this, and I think I'm just going to get rid of one of my Call by the Graves, because this guy doesn't have anything that's activatable in his hand at least. As you see there, we got a Scythe, which that's going to get discarded, which isn't the end of the world, thankfully. Now we're going to activate Polymerization, and we can bring out a whale. Yeah, let's bring out a whale. And to be honest, I shouldn't really fusion summon away Dolphin yet because we won't be able to get anything off of it, but I think I still am, just because maybe the correct play there is to keep Dolphin until you can actually summon her, because it would be a lot better. So we activate Imp Chain, activate Dolphin. Unfortunately, we won't be able to destroy our Toy Vendor with our Cruel Whale because our opponent actually needed to have a monster or something else out on the field, which he didn't. There is something really cool we could do here though, which I think I might do, which is we activate Fright for Fusion and we actually bring out another whale. And this is another play that you can do, but I don't think it's necessary in this game at the moment, but I might still do it just because I think it's funny. So we can banish our Dolphin, and we can also banish our Chain. We actually want to leave Scythe in there because Scythe benefits us quite a bit. So we could actually bring out King of All Calamities. We could bring out King of All Calamities, but I really don't think it's worth it at all, just because there's no way that we can actually get anything else out. But you know what we can do? We can OTK. Hit him with 17. We always wait for the damage step, by the way, to pop the whale. Another tip for y'all. Pop whale's effect. Increase this. We can send anything to the grave, so we're going to send a repair. This is going to give us attack, even though it's not a monster. And then we could even double up on it more, but we can just pop. And since we have well out on the field too, yeah, we already win. So I don't think there's anything you can do. I'm not even going to activate it. I'm just going to let it win. And that's like the simplest OTK you can do. And as you saw there, that's also how you get out King of Calamities. So what we're going to do here is we're going to Burial Goods to see if he has like an Ash Blossom or something. I could get Dog from this actually, but he's going to Link Summon at some point, right? But we have to Fusion Summon to even get King of All Calamities anyway. We got the Penguin on the field. Activate Fluffle Dog. One thing that'd be wild for Fluffles is if Fluffle Penguin was something like Warbler for Bird Up. Like, it kind of is, but at the same time, it's not exactly the same because, of course, you still have to normal summon Penguin to get everything else out. Add Bear, send Bear. I think it's okay for me to send Imp Chain because we have a Fright for Fusion. Oh, there's a sheep. That's Pog. Oh my god, boys, we have plays. We actually have plays. So we can summon our Dolphin, activate Chain, we can grab Patchwork, and we can trigger Dolphin's effect. I'm trying to hold out for Fright for Fusion as much as possible until I know for a fact he's not going to do what I think he's going to do. Because I don't want him to wind up just insta-killing my entire board. I don't know if he can do that, but a part of me feels like he can. We're going to activate Dolphin's effect, and then we're going to send a Sabrus to the grave. We could send Fluffle Wings, which is also not bad, but I'd rather send Sabrus in this current predicament. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to fusion summon with polymerization. We're going to bring out a whale. We're going to use Penguin and Scythe. This will protect our fusion monster. Now, one thing that people may say to do here, which is maybe better, is to actually link summon into a Link Sheep. Wait, he's not stopping it? Do you know what's about to happen? I'm gonna get rid of this for you. What? Why didn't he do? Why didn't what? What is what? Why? I've literally just stopped computing. I don't know. Is this a Blue Eyes player trend? Now, since I sent that other card to the graveyard, we can just summon it, and I can send back. Let's send back Scythe for now. What we're gonna do, we're gonna actually polymerization. I should probably link summon Sheep. Now thinking about it, I really should have linked summon Sheep because I can keep this going for so much longer. And now since we have two of them, see, we could King of all calamities. Oh, dude, I just want to bring them out so bad. But at the same time, it's really not worth it. Practically one at this point. So we can activate Cruel Whale, make this gain attack, and then we can send our Kraken to the grave, and we can get rid of Fright for Repair as well. And we can go to main phase 2. Actually, no, we're not going to do anything. I think we're just going to end. That's perfect. But you know what? No, it's not. We want to make sure we win this. King of all calamities, he's coming out. Blue Eyes can't get over this one, baby. Boom! As soon as he plays a monster, I'm activating King of all calamities. Is gonna, I think, add that to the hand. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna activate King of all calamities. We're gonna detach one of the whales, and we're gonna make everybody water. Because why not? Even though I activated it right here, what this does is everyone's water. So even if he summons his Blue Eyes is water. If he synchro summons, whatever he synchros is gonna be water. Everything's gonna be water. So as you see, he's water. He summoned it to try to get rid of my King of all calamities, but instead, the only thing he can do, he can't do anything. He can't even attack. The only way for him to get rid of my King of all calamities, if he has Raigeki in his hand. So here's the thing. Here's something stupid we can do, which is really dumb, which is we activate King of all calamities, take it away again, we make everybody water. So he's going to try to... So we can activate Blue Eye Spirit Dragon's effect here to synchro summon something onto the field. And if he synchros something onto the field trying to negate my King of all calamities, I have Forbidden Droplet, so I have an outplay. And then what I'm going to do next is pretty spectacular. At least I think it is. It may not be that crazy. Like, you know, in my head, I really am hyping it up. But Penguin can then summon Dog. We summon Penguin, we summon Dog, we activate Penguin's effect. But Penguin, we can grab, why not? Just grab Fluffle Wings, because who cares anymore? We could bring out Talker at the moment, but there's really no point to. But the smart thing to do here would probably just be to bring out Shark and then bring out Abyss Dweller. That's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to Fusion Summon into Bahamut Shark, activate Bahamut Shark. We're going to detach our Penguin and bring out Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome negates anything that he does, so it benefits us quite a bit. Activate my boy's effect and then get Destroying. We could pop Toad and bring him back, but there's no point. So as you see, both of them are gone, and ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna flip the King of all calamities over, and it is time to end this. Boom! Fluffle's really good deck. I like it a lot. I feel like if I could get really good with this deck and actually learn like more combos, I'm almost positive that you can get a field with like Abyss Dweller and like King of all calamities at the same time, which I could have done it right there, which would probably have been better because all water monsters I control would have gained 500 attack. So it probably would have been a lot better for me to bring out Abyss Dweller instead of Totally Awesome, because everything was already negated anyway on the field. So we could just negate everything in the graveyard, which next time I'll do that definitely. But I was just like, screw it. We're gonna bring out Bahamut into Totally Awesome because I like Totally Awesome. Look at him. But that's going to be it for this video, man. Thank you all for coming out. I don't know when this is coming out. This may be coming out Friday morning, or this may be coming out Thursday night, like late Thursday night. But guys, that's going to be it for this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more. And last but not least, you guys already know, don't forget to drink water.